Well, we have the last two windows, and I just marked out where the car lifts, I think, are going to go. First car lift of ours is 127 inches wide, center of the post. Second one is 120. We're going to put the 120 here because it's our newest lift. We'll probably use that mostly for oil changes, changing tires. There's one. They're really, really hard to see. We're going to have 6 foot on center in between, right there. Then here's our second lift, which is a lot older lift, but it works just fine. Right there. Right there. We got 7 foot right here. We're 14 foot back from the wall on center. I think that'll work. That'll let you put a long bed truck facing backward, and if you're going to work on them with the back part facing this way, and you want the front of the car facing this way, plenty of room to work on the front of the car, pull a motor, do that kind of thing. So we can pull it from the back, we can pull it from the front. I think that'll work. We're not cutting too hard into our space over here, and if you look, sorry, I got the cold air sniffles here. If you look here, we're going to walk to the middle of the door, so about right here. The lifts will be biased. See if you guys can see. Come on, zoom. I'm going to hand up right there. 1, 2, and the other one's right there, and right there. So we'll be able to pull straight, relatively straight on. It'll be a little dog leg, so it'll be easy to turn through here if we needed to come in that door and button hook. I'm planning on putting my little aluminum fishing boat right there, so it'll be really easy to pull in and get it out like this, even with a car in the lift. And we also have a whole nother bay next to it, which I'm intending this to be the welding bay. Going to be welding right there, so we can also weld on a vehicle if we need to, because it'll be on this lift. But when you pull in this door, we can just do a little dog leg over here and park on this side. So we get 3 bays. We get a mechanic bay, and then a do whatever bay. On top of having a bay in front of me, and potentially a bay over here. So can in theory work on 4 projects at once, of varying levels of completion. And then we have that whole back part there to fabricate and build cool things and get back to what I love doing. It's been on the wayside a little bit in the last couple of years, and I need to change that. It's been way too long since I built something. It's really, really bothering me. I think we'll kind of have this as a storage bay right here. So we'll have that as a working bay. We'll try and keep everything over there ready to move at all times. Maybe we put a steel rack in the corner over there or something like that. We're getting there. Probably keep this more for motorcycle storage or something like that, Have battery tenders along that wall. Our office will be right there. Yeah, we're getting there. Those new windows look really good. You can see what a difference this place is lit up like. It's awesome. With those over there, and these right here, and these over here. This is some awesome natural light. I am quite pleased. When I rolled up to see these, oh boy, was I happy. So that's where we're at. We're going to obviously have some power, maybe in the middle of this. So we have a 4 position right there. Lights are already taken care of. It'll be all strung up with LEDs all the way down and back. That'll be really, really nice. So what kind of projects do you guys want to see me tackle? I have a lot of projects of my own that need to be finished, completed. My excursion's never been on the channel. I have a really nice excursion. That was my first truck, and it's now lifted and has a really nice suspension package, nice shocks. I need to build bump stop mounts so I can have hydro bumps on it. It's on 37s, nice truck, it's locked. It's a good truck. My Cummins, again, hasn't been on the channel because when I started this channel, it was basically, I realized how much interesting content I could have been making all those years, that I was really doing a lot of cool stuff. And due to starting a family and that kind of thing, things fell by the wayside a little bit, but we're trying to change that right now. And you guys will be along for the ride on that. I always remarked, like, man, I wish I would have had a video camera doing that. Well, I always had a cell phone with me. I just never did it, and I never had the gumption to say I'm going to start a YouTube channel. So here we are. We're doing the YouTube thing. We're having a lot of fun doing it, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I hope you guys are having fun. We will have more interesting projects to come. Yeah. So this is kind of the layout that I've been thinking. So like I said, any projects you guys have in mind, I got a buddy who really wants to build a pre-runner, all for that. And I really want to build a rock bouncer. So basically I want to have a trail rig that I no longer have to think about body damage with. That's what I'd like to build. Jump straight from a vehicle that I drive on the road and still wheel very, very carefully to something that I can just flog. I would like to do that. So we'll see how that transpires. But let me know what you think about the car lift position. I think this should work fine. So if you're over here and you're looking this way, that'll be the middle of the first lift. And then we've got 6 foot in between. Should be plenty of room to, slide a tool cart or something like that. Roll a motor through or something. Now, something that I've gotten used to having is overhead cranes. And we won't have overhead cranes right now. I am going to, I think, build an overhead crane that rolls on the ground. Thinking about doing that. It doesn't have to be very big, just enough to straddle a car. And the theory is that it would be on casters that would spin 360 degrees, so I could roll it straight in like this, and then roll it up to the car, and then be able to roll it out again. So if I'm successful in doing that, we'll have an overhead lift. Now, I can't imagine doing anything too crazy, mostly putting transmissions on stands, engines on stands, but we can use a tractor for that. So we're also going to have our old Clark Hilo. It's like a 1950-something Clark Hilo that we've had for eons. My dad and I have done the head gaskets on it and changed the whole ignition system and fixed the whole ignition system. So it's a head gasket. I misspoke there. Single head gasket. It's an inline 4 propane little thing. I think it's a Ford motor, but very, very nice little Hilo. We will have that here, and that really, it does a lot. And the other thing I was thinking was making a skid for it, metal skid that had a winch on it. Then just have a gantry, welded up that you go into the skid, the metal skid that you put the forks in, maybe a couple keeper, deals to tighten it down, a gantry that comes up, and then a crane loop that goes like that. So the other thing we were thinking was just build a little gantry. Not against that either. So we'll kind of see. He was mentioning the other day about building a crane and I mentioned a gantry for the forklift that we could also use with our tractor, because now the tractor we have a quick disconnect, skid steer, quick disconnect, you know what I mean? So that would open up some doors. It would open up some doors for deer hunting too, because in theory you could use it to put up tree stands and stuff with a lot less effort. That's possible. We'll see how that goes. I would need to think about how we would make it have enough reach and lift without having too much torsional load on the forks and on the tractor. So there's some design considerations that have to happen there. But I have another pet project that I'm going to build here, but I think that one's going to stay a little bit secretive. So we'll be doing some weldment. Maybe I'll show the welding on it, but I'm going to keep that one a little bit secret because it was an idea I came up with and keep that to myself. But we're going to have plenty of other projects to use here. I think this is going to be an awesome space, kind of seeing it come together, and I can imagine the car lifts being there. There's probably 70 foot. Yeah, I would imagine there's 70 foot between that door and the edge of this lift. So, I mean, the space looks, once you're in here and it's cleared out, like, it's pretty big. And also, too, the video doesn't really do justice how much room there is here. That's probably 65 foot. Maybe it's not 70. It's 65 foot. There's plenty of room in here. So we have this whole long bay we can use if we ever needed to. I don't own anything that's 100-foot long, so I don't really plan on it. So that probably won't be too much of a consideration. We can get a semi-truck in here if we needed to. I would like to find an old Freightliner or an old Peterbilt with either a 400 big cam or like a 3406B or C or E. I would really like a 400 big cam. But nevertheless, we can dream away, and hopefully you guys can be along for that ride. If you have any build ideas, let me know. I got some things cooking up in my mind. My buddy wants to build long travel Ranger. So a pre-runner long travel Ranger is what he'd like to build with the twin, the twin trailing beam, whatever the heck it is, to a twin independent beam setup. I'm kind of partial to long travel A-arms, but he wants to do that for the first one, so maybe we'll build two. One with long travel suspension, the other one with, the twin beam front suspension, so we'll see. Cummins, I think I made a little bit of a mistake with it. I put Carly suspension on it, and so now it's lifted. And it's set up to be able to work pretty well off-road. It's got a built front axle with chromoly shafts because I wore out the old ones. Didn't break them, wore out the U-joint ends, the yoke end. Or the left and right drive shaft ends that the U-joint goes to, whatever the heck those things are called. Wore them through to where the U-joint was loose in it. So the only thing I could do for that axle was to put chromoly shafts in it because I couldn't get OEM ones. Yeah, so it's kind of set up to be able to wheel. Here's the problem. It's such a good truck for working and towing. So do I venture away from that thing being a work rig and turn it into... It's always been my Power Stroke now fills my gap for working and traveling and playing. And the Cummins before the Power Stroke was always that truck for me. So do I keep going on the off-road? I got I just lied to you guys, or more likely I was wrong. I put Thurin suspension on it, not Carly, you dum-dum. But it does have a Carly track bar, so I'd gotten that before. It doesn't have full Thurin, it has Carly track bar, Thurin overland shocks, and then their 3-inch front springs, and then I have the 2-inch shackle lift in the back. So it does still have its 1-ton rear spring. So on that angle, the truck still is a work truck. It just has a bit more height. So do I keep using it as a work truck, or do I go full bore and making it be able to wheel? So if you want to, throw a comment in there. Tell me what you think. That old girl will be up here a couple days. That'll be like the first thing to get done. Is I needed to put a new power steering pump on it. What actually happened was it isn't really the power steering pump's super duper fault. It's the O-ring between the plastic housing and for the oil reservoir and the cast iron pump. A piece of something was wedged in there when they put it together. It was, I'm sure, a remanufactured pump as opposed to a new pump. And so we had put a new pump on and it didn't work. Well, the reason it didn't work is because it was sucking air in and pissing oil out, and it came down to the O-ring was compromised, and therefore there wasn't a seal. So I guess this now part 14 has kind of turned into a bit of a narration on other things, but more or less I'm asking what you guys might like to see for the channel. I know what I need to do to get my jobs done, but there's an opportunity here to build some cool stuff, and I'm all about building cool stuff. So why don't we, here's your homework. Throw in the comment section what you'd like to see put together, and we'll go from there. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you like the way the barn's turned out. I do. It's very, very exciting. We have our nice little locations for our lifts. I think those will work just fine. And we'll go from there. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like building things and off-roading in Michigan and just generally doing cool things in Michigan. That's kind of what the channel's all about. We're from Michigan, and There's a lot of opportunity in Michigan. We're trying to show how much opportunity there is. Everyone take care of yourselves.